To the next episode on SAP UI 5 training. In the last session, we discussed about the concept of fragments. Let's begin our class with the introduction of creating the exercise which I've given in the fragment session. And if you have any other further doubt, you can ask me today. So let's get started. So by far, I have showed you creating a fragment at design time and also a little bit of it about at the run time. So what I'm going to do is now I'll just go ahead and create the fragment for this particular use case where I have to create supplier names. So design an input field for supplier names inside third icon tab filter. And when you press F for help, it should display the list of suppliers in a select dialog control. On selection of the supplier inside of the dialog box, it should then place it the value inside of input field. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly log into our web IDE, and Samir has also created already the data for suppliers inside of our JSON file where we have an entity set storing the information about supplier. So we will be reusing the dialog fragment the day we created it, and we're going to just call that from the input field which we create in third icon tab filter inside of a our input inside of our icon tab filter. So let's execute this first of all to see the current state of the application. So I'll just try and run this into another session. Now nothing inside, so I'm going to create a quick input field inside of this. So let me just come back to the view. So I'll just go to view 2, and inside of view 2 I have my icon tab filters. So I have this one for table and this one for input field, and the third one which is right now empty, I'm just going to add my input field. And there you go, and just give an ID for this input field. ID is supplier, and I'm just say value help request. That's an event name on supplier F4. That's the event name. And if you forget it, you can also check quickly the input field which we have used earlier. So value help request was the event, and show value help is marked as true. And then just finish it off, save it. Let's come back and refresh. You would see the item is not loading. There's some problem, so press F12. There was some problem inside of our code, somewhere it's failing. And I just quickly go and check it in the console. What's the reason of failure? Did we do something wrong? Yes, we did, I think, something wrong. This input field should be part of content aggregation of icon tab filter. So I forgot to put content aggregation, and inside of this my input field accordingly. Remember another important point, the input field should be I capital. That's the reason it's not working. Now just come back, refresh, and voila. Yes, and there you go, your input field over here. Press F4, nothing happens, of course, because you don't have right now an event handler for this. Let's go ahead and put in the event handler on supplier F4. So I come in here and just put in this function and use O event curly braces, and I'm just going to instantiate our fragment for displaying the supplier F4, guys. So I'm gonna just tell the system what should happen when a user plays on F4. Of course, we're going to create an object of fragment one more time. So var or dialog equals to new sap.ui.xml fragment, and just put fiori.fragments.myDialog, and just going to pass comma this over here, and that should create an instance of our dialog control. And very importantly, we just make it to get the view object and make it add dependent, so it can access the models which are there available with the view inside of our fragment object. And I'm going to also change the title. So I'm going to send a signal using this remote control supplier. I say set the title for this as my suppliers. Very nice. And of course, finally the binding to display the data. Set, so bind aggregation, and just items aggregation. I'm going to bind, put the path of the JSON. So you're going to put the path of the JSON over here, and then template new sap.m standard list item, and this can also have a nice icon, sap-icon :/ suppliers, and I'm going to also put here the title and description. So the properties of course going to come up here for the purpose of binding. So curly braces indicates the binding. However, here we are saying it's a path, which means it's automatically considered to be the binding. So let's get into the JSON and get its path, and finally we're going to open up the dialog box over here. Very nice. Save this, and now let's go ahead and look at the data which Samir has created earlier. So you see this is very helpful. Fruits.json, and it has 3 entities, and there's one which we are looking now is supplier entity. So I come back to our controller and just put here suppliers as an entity set, and the name of the supplier and city I want to display. So in the title I want to display the name, and here I want to display the city. Save this. We are done. Now yes, of course, second part is remaining. I come here, I press F for help, and you see all the suppliers are getting displayed here, but when I choose this, it doesn't come up over here. The reason is very simple. When you click on F for help, it launches your fragment, and when you select something, the fragment calls on confirm event. So if you go back to fragment, it has a confirm event on confirm. So that's why this event on confirm is getting triggered. In this, we are just getting the value, which is nice. However, we are also trying to get the input field object ID, and this is a global variable, and I would say this variable should be set as the ID of your supplier input field now. So system would automatically go and put the supplier value inside of that. So let's come here. When the supplier F4 is called, immediately I'm going to set this global variable with o event dot get source dot by id. Sorry, get id. Get me the ID of this input field. So you see the beauty of global variable. The wherever you press F4, it's going to open the same fragment. You're going to reuse the same fragment to create the pop-up, and the beauty of this is, so we have the same variable used both for our table F4 and for the input field F4 help. Yeah, that's the beauty. Let's save this, come back and refresh the page. Come here, finally press F4, choose one of the supplier, let's say Sunrise Exports India, and voila, the value is being displayed inside my input field. It was that simple to complete this exercise. Okay guys, clear everyone? Any doubt in this exercise by far? Anybody? No doubt. So let's move on, little bit more advanced stuff now. Now one problem here with this approach, guys, I'll tell you one bigger problem. Can anybody tell me what will be the problem of this approach? As a programmer point of view, user point of view, perfect. User is saying perfect, amazing, functionality is absolutely good. What is the problem from programmer point of view? Anybody?
Binding path, if it changes in the JSON model, you have to correct it manually every time.
No, that's okay, that's fine, that's understood, that anyways you have to do it for view also. Let's compare it with an ALV example, those who worked with ALV in ABAP. Okay, what do we do? What are the steps to create an ALV? So we first create an instance of cl underscore salv, cl underscore uh, GUI underscore alv underscore grid class, correct? This is what we do. After that we call set table for first display. Yeah, we call set table for first display method in ALV, in ABAP programming, correct guys? Now whenever the data changes in ALV, do you again create an instance of ALV? Anybody? When the data changes in the ALV, would you again go and create any object of a class? Or would you just call set table for first display, or refresh data, something of that method you call? What do you do in ABAP programming? Do you again create a fresh object of CL GUI ALV grid? No, you just do a refresh. You just call refresh table. Guys, please mute your line. I don't know who joined just now. It's so much of annoying sound coming. I don't know. Thank you. So refresh table is what you call. You don't recreate the object of ALV again and again. Now, those who don't know ABAP, forget about this. Let's look at the code. So what is happening every time I'm pressing F4 help, system is creating a new fragment object, isn't it? And when you click on select on an item, that anyways gets closed, but the object gets created, object gets remain inside of your memory somewhere. So every time you click on F4 help, an object got created. Now you click on selected one item, the object is still remain in memory. Next time again you click, what will happen? Next time again you click on F4 help, what will happen? Anybody? Next time again you click on F4 help, what will happen? Again one more new object gets created, right, in the memory. And let's say user click 200 times on F4 help. Functionality is working, there is no doubt about it. Now what will happen if user 200 times click on F4 help? Anybody? What will happen if user clicks on this 200 times? It would create 200 objects in memory, however really not required. So it's killing your memory, isn't it? From programmer point of view, again I'm saying it's killing your memory. Is this a good practice? Do you think it's a good practice, and how do we avoid it? Anybody, any programmers, any programmer in this room, any developer in this room? I want developer mindset to avoid this situation now. Do you want to every time create an object or not? What will you do to safeguard yourself, avoid creating object every time? Anybody, what will you do? Perfect answer. Samir has got it right. You create an object globally. So you define a global variable, okay, and store this created object, new created object in this global variable. Next time when this F4 help is pressed, you check if the variable exists already. If it exists, you continue. If it doesn't exist, just create it. So first time when you come, object doesn't exist, object got created, you continue. Next time again you click, what will happen? Your variable, your object already exists. System will not create again, system would just open that object. This way you just have this one memory object inside of this, which is one single object every time reused. With this object you also get couple of more advantages like persistency. You can persist the user selection. Let's say today I allow multi-selection of my dialog control, and I want to persist the selection. That will also come free of cost to you if you do this, if you use global variable, global object. Clear everyone? Let's get into it and try to achieve this. So what I'm going to do is I'll just go back, and I am going to tell the system that you create a global variable. So I said this dot supplier pop-up, and I'm just gonna assign it as a null value. Okay, watch this. It's a global variable. You don't need actually this here, just need supplier pop-up. It's a global variable. And now instead of dialog, what will you do? Anybody who will tell me what shall I write instead of var dialog? Anyone? Instead of var dialog, what shall I write? Anyone who will tell me what shall I write instead of var dialog? Anybody? What do we do instead of var dialog? What do we do instead of var dialog? What do we do? We just use this dot supplier pop-up. Control space you can do. You see all the code completion is available. You can choose supplier pop-up, and that's it. Now I can come here. Everywhere this dialog should be replaced with supplier pop-up. And you can also now put an if condition. If supplier pop-up is equals to null, then you create this object. That's your safeguarding of avoiding creating multiple objects. Clear everyone? What did we do? Everyone, is that clear to everyone? What did we do? How are we safeguarding, not wasting the memory? Everyone, is this clear? Everyone, what did we do? Created a global variable. We first time it comes, it checks its null, it creates the object, it does everything for you. Next subsequent time when you keep pressing F4 help, it keeps showing you the same dialog box. It doesn't create a new one, doesn't create new memory, doesn't consume memory. This way your application is going to run much faster. It's going to take less memory inside of an application. My job is not to teach you concept, but teach you in a way that you learn what is the best practice. What is the best practice, guys? Okay, what is the best practice? This is my job, not just to teach you, but to guide you what is the right approach, what is the right way of doing things, what keeps you more and more closer to standard SAP code. Okay, clear everyone? What did we do here? Okay, now what next? Suppose I want to allow multi-selection. So I come here, fragment, and suppose I want to allow multi-selection. So I just come here and say multi-selection equals to true. What will happen? All the fragments inside my application will turn into multi-selection mode. So if you come here and I press F4, oops, I think this is not the right property. Let's go back to UI5 SDK and check what's the right property to enable multiple selections. UI5 SDK, and I will just try and find what should be the right property to use. So I come here and search for select dialog, go inside, and you can see here in select dialog in event, sorry, properties, and we have multi-select mode. See here, multi-select mode is false. I'm just going to say multi-select equals to true. It's multi-select, not selection. Multi-select mode, I have made it true. What will happen? Anyone who will tell me what will happen? So every F4 help now in dialog control, you see multiple selection has been enabled. Checkbox have come up. Same thing happened here inside Mumbai. All the cities are also multi-select. See the power of fragment. Suppose in an application, your manager comes and asks you all the pop-ups should become multi-select. How will you do? If you would have used multiple places select dialog control, how many places you have to change to make it multi-select all the dialog controls? If you would have used multiple select dialog objects, different places in your application, how many places you would have end up changing it? All the places. But since you reuse the fragment, the power of the fragment is you change inside a fragment, it immediately makes the change available for all the other reuse places, isn't it? That's the power of fragment. Multi-select mode, guys. That's the beauty of multi-select. If I select multiple, I can click on OK. However, you can see it just choose the last one because input field can only hold one at a time, which is this one, the last one. But yes, multi-selection mode is enabled. It's not retaining my selection. For retaining selection, there is another property. So there is a property called remember selections, which is also made as false. I'm just going to reuse this and tell the system to uh, make it remember selection equals to true. Now it's going to retain the values. I come here and just come here, press F4, and I say Metro Sunrise SR. Okay, I select three of them, click on OK. And if I click on F4 again, you see it's retaining my selection. So I selected three items. Okay, maybe let's say these three, Metro, SR, Mysore, and say OK. And now you see again, if I press F4, it's retaining my selection. Do you get it, guys? Retaining my selection. However, if you come here, go F4, select Pune, Nasik, and Ratnagiri, and click on OK. And if you come again, you see your selection is gone automatically. Why? Anybody who will tell me what to do to retain the selection? However, it's same fragment. I have marked the property to make retain selection true, it's not retaining the selection for city. What is the reason it's not retaining the selection for cities? Anybody who will tell me? Just now I taught you one concept. Who will tell me what is the reason it's not retaining my selection in city, however it's retaining the selection in supplier? That's an exercise for all of you. Just go ahead and fix this problem. Okay, so fix the problem of retaining selection. That's an exercise. Fix the problem of retaining the selection in, it's already marked. Remember selection is already marked, same fragment. So Nagarjun is saying make it remember selection. It's already marked at the fragment level. You see fragment level, we marked it remember selection true. It's remembering the selection for supplier but not working for city. Answer is very simple. Very simple. The answer is written in this if condition and this global object. That's the answer. I will not tell you more because I already told you the answer. Just an exercise. So make the remember selection. Yes, Samir has got it. We didn't use global object. It's again and again creating every time a new object. Okay, that's the reason system is unable to track what was selected. It's actually creating a new object actually. So make remember selection work for city pop-up. Okay, that's what you need to do. Just go ahead and fix that up. Okay, if you want F4 to be not multi-select, then can we write logic in view controller? Yes, it's completely possible. So suppose you have two F4 pop-ups at the moment. So you want this to be this to be multi-select, but you don't want city wala to be not multi-select. Okay, so you want city to not be multi-select. It's very easy. Go to the city wala object. Okay, just go to the object where you have the city object. This is the one which is used for city object. Make this set multi-select false. That's it. You send a signal to its object that I don't want this to be multi-select. So just come back and now press F4. You see multi-select for city is gone, but multi-select for supplier is up and running. Clear everyone? So that's completely manageable, customizable based on your need. Yes, fragment gives you flexibility to reuse complete stuff, but you want to still change the behavior. It's in your control because this object is the control of that fragment. If you see, this fragment was instantiated as an object, and now this object is going to send all the command to the fragment, guys. Clear everyone? This object is responsible for talking to this fragment. So you can do whatever you like based on your need. Okay everyone, is that clear? So there is a question here in the chat box. The question says, what should be the criteria on practice on creation of new fragment in case we have, say, not use some of the existing functionality in the fragment and also add new ones? So the criteria is very simple. You got to decide yourself. You will say, if I have an application which where I want to create 10 pop-ups, and the properties of those 10 pop-ups, out of those 10 pop-ups, 8 pop-ups are having common functionality. Okay, what will you do? So you have 10 pop-ups, 8 of them have common functionality, 2 of them have another set of common functionality. So you create 2 fragments, 8 of them will reuse fragment 1, 2 of them will reuse fragment 2. Clear? So you have to see the mass, where you have masses. So similar kind of functionality, wherever you have it, you create it accordingly. Next question, if you want one F4 to be not multi-select, which I already answered, one of the F4 help, I showed you that not having it multi-select. Clear? So that's exactly what you can do. Anyone, any question here?
So,
Yeah, Udit.
yeah, so in this example, I did not use the add dependent, but still it worked. So just wanted to know what's the usage of add dependent specifically, and what additional functionality we are bringing using this,
Okay, add
because it
dependent.
worked without.
Actually, add dependent You might not have seen the problem, but if you remember in the last class for city, when we were coding for city, when I removed the add dependent, it was not working actually. When this code was not kept, it was not working. So add dependent means it tells the system that this fragment what we are planning to launch, the fragment which we are opening here, is a children of view. So this is your view. This view has access to all the models, okay, and this model is not directly accessed by the fragments. Some of the cases, sometime when you create a fragment, the model is not directly accessible by this view. It's not allowed. So we have to pass or transfer all the objects which view has an access, okay, to the fragment. And how would that happen is by adding this as add dependent. So the moment do add dependent, fragment will get automatically the object, especially the model objects, the model instance objects access inside of the fragment. This I have explained it also in my previous class, so please watch the video again, you will get your answer again. Okay, that's the purpose of add dependent. It's always good practice to use add dependent whenever it comes to your objects. Clear? Okay, moving next, let's go ahead and now see how to create drop down controls inside of Fiori. So I want to create now multiple variety of drop downs. So let me show you here. So I come here and first create a select control. Select is again a drop down type of control. So I just give a ID and I want to create a supplier drop down ID SUPP select control, and I'm just going to use items aggregation and going to bind it curly braces slash supplier. Is that the entity name? Supplier is the entity name. Yes, it's right. Supplier is the entity name. And what I'm going to do is inside of this select dialog, select, it's a drop down control, guys. So you can come and check here the documentation for select control. Here it is, select control documentation in UI5. So just go and check aggregation. It has an items aggregation. Each item is of type class SAP UI core item class. So I'm just going to add now the core item inside of this. So let's come back and you see it's an items aggregation, bind it with supplier, and inside this we have core item class, which has a key property and a text property. So just create the binding and just use text as the name of the supplier, and maybe if you have, let's say, supplier ID inside somewhere which is unique, you can use that. Since when is not unique value, maybe some supplier ID if you have typically in business object like sales order ID, purchase order ID, you can use that as a key, or maybe I can use name itself as a key. In this case, this would end up creating a simple drop down for you, displaying all the supplier values. Let's come back and refresh, and you see nice and little cute drop down have been created. I can choose a value. That's the beauty of my drop down, or called select control, which I wanted to demonstrate. Clear everyone how to create a drop down inside Fiori. Next one, I want to show you an advanced drop down which is called select, it's called combo box control. Okay, in the combo box control, once again I'm just going to put an ID combo, and I say supplier, combo supplier. Same thing, guys, no change, same items aggregation, we will bind it with supplier. And let's go and check out the combo box here in UFS SDK. What is the aggregation it has? So say combo box, and you see combo box control here, and inside of this combo box control, go to, so let's go to its base class, combo box base class. We can find aggregations, and again it accepts a type of SAP UI core item class objects. So same thing, exactly same thing, just the type has been changed to combo box. So exactly same aggregation. Save this, and then comes is something called multi select combo box. So let me just come and show multi combo box it is. So let me add it. These are different flavors of drop downs we have in Fiori. So different flavors of drop down, guys. You see we have created this. Come back and refresh this page. So I just, oops, some problem, I think the ID is no more unique. That's why it's creating a problem. You see, this ID is causing an issue. So say multi supplier, and let's come back and refresh the page this time. And yes, it comes up. And watch carefully. So this is a normal select control. Here now, watch the beauty of it. I can type in. It's an input field plus combo box both. So you can do a selection. You can also start typing. Okay, that's the beauty of it. So you say A, and it filters you all the available items inside of this with starting A. See the beauty, guys. Okay, that's the beauty of combo box control. It's an input field plus combo box. Okay, earlier one, here you can't type anything, you have to always select, but here you can start typing. I can say S, and it loads up all the items starting with S, and I can now choose. That's called combo box control. Clear, everyone, the difference between combo box and select control? And multi combo box is just like multi selection. So you can see you can add multiple selections inside of this. That's multi select combo box. Is that clear? All variety of drop downs inside Fiori control. How can you create combo box control? Is this clear to everyone? What is a select control? What is a combo box control? And what is a multi combo box control? The binding and all the other stuff, everything is same. Only difference is their experience for the user. So choice is yours. Whichever is your user want, you can add it. Okay. So it's my duty to teach you all the choices. You can decide which choice you want to go ahead with. Clear? So that's your multi-select combo box and select control. Now moving on to the most interesting topic of today, which is called custom control. What is custom control in Fiori or UI5 framework? Custom control. We don't use much of custom control, but as a developer, you should have an idea about what custom control is. So there is one common statement which we always reiterate whenever we work with SAP UI5. What is that common statement? UI5 doesn't become a bottleneck for developers. Okay, this is one common statement you will hear me or you will hear people talking about. UI5 doesn't become a bottleneck for developer. What does it mean? It doesn't stop you to do things which you were like stopped being doing inside of WebDyn Pro or BSP technology. Because UI5 is based on open standards, it allows you to extend the functionality. So one of you have asked me, Anubhav, there is some event which doesn't exist for a control. What do I do? I want an enter event to support. I want a support for enter event for this control. What do I do? There is no support for enter event. Anubhav, what to do? That's why UI5 doesn't become a bottleneck. If certain functionality is not there inside a control, you can write your own control, complete control, or you can extend the standard UI5 control and reuse it. Okay, you can reuse it or you can write complete control on your own. Okay, so there are two things here, not just about rewriting complete thing. You can extend a standard UI5 control or you can write a complete control yourself. So what is the syntax for creating a custom control? It's very simple. sap.ui. Anyone, first question to all of you, which is the parent class for all of the UI controls in UI5? Perfect answer, Udit. It's sap.ui.core.control class. This is what I taught all of you guys inside my control hierarchy chapter. So let me go back to my control hierarchy chapter where I taught you this concept of control hierarchy, which is the super class. You can see here SAP UI core control class is the super class of all your controls, right? This is the super class. Now next question to all of you is, which keyword we use to indicate inheritance in UI5? Anybody? Which keyword do we use to indicate inheritance in UI5? Extends keyword. Perfect answer. That's what we use. Extends keyword to indicate inheritance inside of UI5. Clear, everyone? So that's what we use, extends keyword to indicate inheritance in UI5. So we are actually going to design our personal control, custom control based on our need. So we're going to use extends keyword, and we are going to extend the standard UI5 control class to create our own control. What is the syntax to create our own control? It's very simple. Just put sap.ui dot core control class dot extend, and now here inside put the id of control. Okay, this is what we have to put, the id of the control, the name, the path of the control, whatever you want to declare, and then we write curly braces end, and like this. So guys, now inside there are three important sections which we have to put. The first section comes is metadata. The second section which we put it is called init method. The third section is called destroy. If you want to put it you can, but next is renderer. Anyone, does browser understand UI5? Anybody, does browser understand UI5 or not? Anybody who will tell me, does your browser understand UI5? Does browser understand Java? Does browser understand ABAP? Does browser understand .NET? Does browser understand any of these technologies, guys? Browser don't understand it. What does the browser understand? Anybody who will tell me, what does the browser understand? What is that the browser only and only understand? Browser only understand HTML5, CSS and JavaScript, guys. Browser don't understand anything other than that. So that's what exactly going to happen here. What SAP UI5 framework does, in initial chapters I taught you this, guys. What is that SAP UI5 framework does? Who will tell me? It converts the the code which you write inside equivalent HTML code, isn't it? That's what the SAP UI5 framework is doing. It is converting the code which you have written to equivalent HTML code, isn't it? That's what your exactly your browser is doing. So that's what we also have to do. When you design a custom control, you actually have to write a renderer function which will tell the system, which will tell the UI5 framework what is the equivalent HTML code which should be generated. Clear, everyone? What is the equivalent HTML code which should be generated? You should write it. So this is why we write a renderer function when we design. This time you're designing your own control, guys. Okay, you are designing completely a new control, your personal control, a control which anybody else can use it. Okay, so you have to give a renderer function which is going to convert it to an equivalent HTML code. So that's why we are writing a renderer function over here. So what is this renderer function? This renderer function is where you have to tell the system what is the equivalent HTML code. So there are three major sections when you're designing your control. First is metadata. Okay, inside of this metadata section you're gonna put three things. First thing you're gonna put is properties. Okay, second thing you're gonna put inside this called aggregation. If you have by any chance any aggregation, you're gonna put that. The third thing you're gonna put events, and then you're gonna put something called functions. Okay, that's what you will be putting as part of this definition of your control. So here metadata is nothing but a section where you put definition of your custom control. Properties, events, aggregation, whatever you see in UI5 SDK for every control, you see events, aggregation, properties, methods, all that you will put here in the metadata section. Init function will be used for initialization of your attributes. It's like constructor of a class. So you're like kind of declaring a class, guys, where you're putting properties of the class, methods of the class. Similarly, creating a class here. Init function is used to initialize the variables of the class, like properties of the class if you want to initialize. So that's what exactly it does. Third function is the render, the most important function. This is the function which will tell the browser, sorry, which will tell the UI5 framework to convert when somebody use this code, someone use this control, what is the equivalent HTML code should be sent to browser. Okay, you have to send the equivalent HTML code to the browser, because browser only understand HTML. Browser don't understand UI5, browser don't understand anything else. You need to talk to browser, create your control, you need to put this. So here now inside there are two ready-made objects, one is ORM, one is O control. What is ORM object? ORM is the renderer object which we talks to the browser. This object will talk to the browser actually. Okay, ORM is an object which talks to the browser. So this guy here, it will talk to the browser. And O control, what O control does? The O control will actually, this particular guy, O control, this control will be an object of the control itself. Okay, so the control which you are creating, it's an object of it. Why? Can you access property of a class without using its objects? Anybody? Can you access property of a class, or what you use to access property of a class? Anybody? What do you use to access property method of a class? Anyone? What to do? What to use to access the properties and attributes, functions of the class? You need its object. So that's what this object is. Suppose if I want to use the value of a property, I can use this O control object. When you see it in the system, you will realize what we are using, why we are using this O control object. It's actually the object of this control itself. It is just like me. In ABAP, we have me arrow, current class attributes and functions we can call. It's just like me, just like this pointer inside your controller. So it's just like that object of the control itself. And this is what object of renderer, which talks to the browser. This object is going to send the signal to the browser to what to write into the DOM. That's what this renderer object will do. Okay, it's a renderer object. Let's go ahead and design our custom control. So what is the use case? SAP UI5 doesn't offer a heading control to me. Okay, what is the use case? SAP UI5 doesn't offer a heading control for me. So my manager asked to create a control which displays a, a heading. Okay, an H1 tag should be created. So SAP UI5 doesn't offer that to me. So I will go ahead and create my own control. I'm gonna design my own control with SAP UI5 framework, its base class, extend it and design my custom control. Maybe I can name this control as Superman. Okay, so I want to design a control name is Superman, my personal control. Okay, so let's do it. We go back to UI5 SDK, sorry, our web IDE, and I'm going to design completely a new project and just close all of this, create a new project folder. So I just say new folder and I say custom control, and inside of this custom control I'm saying just new file. So just go back to my Fiori app and just call the index.html. So maybe copy this index.html and paste it inside. This has the default bootstrapping and a namespace, and we were just going to call a view. Okay, so let me call up a view, the old code what we had. So we have an app control, and this is just launching a view. So we have app control, and inside of this app control we're going to put a main view. So right now, just for simplicity, I'm just going with the old way, no component.js at the moment. So don't panic, it's just like, you know, doing the old way. You can of course use all the latest and greatest concepts which I taught you. But right now, just for simplicity, I'm going with this. I'm just going to create this main view, new view, and XML view, main view. Namespace is Fiori, and just say main view. Yeah, finish. And say main view got created. Very nice. Let's execute it. So I execute it, and you see, wow, beautiful. It shows you an app object with the main view inside of it. Clear, everyone? And just go ahead and give a title to this view, and just come here and say custom control demo, and just come here, and you see custom control demo is displayed. So what I want now, I want to display heading tag here. So in HTML displaying heading tag, there's no such control in UI5 SDK. Okay, so we want to create a custom control. So let's create a file. So I say right click, new folder. I'm going to create custom control. We're going to modularize everything always. So custom control folder, and I just give a file name here, and just give this file name as my control.js. And inside of this file, let's define sap.ui.define our scaffolding template. And I'm going to use dependencies and function as usual, what we do. And I say return. And I'm going to return something out of it. So I'm going to return an object of my custom control definition. So let's put here a dependency on SAP UI core control. That's a dependency, and just put super control class, and just come here and just say I'm going to now create, guys, a custom control definition. So I says custom control definition dot extend, and inside of this I'm going to put the name of my control. So name of my control is my control, not Superman. Actually, I'm using my control as the name, so its namespace is Fiori dot custom control dot my control. So I'm creating my personal control here, comma curly braces, and now let's just write it down. Now there's a one mistake I'm doing. I'm not going to say return this. I'm just going to say return this custom control object. Actually, it's enough to put this guy. Okay, enough to put this guy. No return required. Just directly put this super control, which is inheriting from SAP UI core control class, which is a base class dot extend. You could have also written this like this, sap.ui.core dot control class. This is also okay, but since we have dependency management done using scaffolding, we better use scaffolding for the use. So we come here, and now we say extend this, and now we have three sections, as I told you: metadata and init, and then we have finally the renderer, ORM, control. So now what I'll do is I'll just say renderer dot write, and I'm going to tell the browser, just write, when somebody use this control, just write a heading tag, h1 tag. Okay, just write a heading for us, h1 tag, you write it for us, and I say welcome to custom world. We want everything to be customized in our life, guys. Whenever we watch out any pizza shop, we have options to customize our pizza. We say I want a base of I want a different variety of bases. I have different toppings to choose from. I have cheese burst option, I have normal cheese option, I have mozzarella cheese option. So it's all a custom world. It's a world of choices. Whenever you go to online shopping for cell phone, you have variety of cell phones available from different companies. You can decide on processor speed, you decide on RAM, external memory, ringtone. You can customize. After getting a mobile phone, you can customize your ringtone. So it's a custom world. There is always an option you are in need to customize, right? And that's what SAP UI5 offers you. It offers you to customize. That's what I love about SAP UI5. That's why the people are saying bye-bye to WebDyn Pro in BSP, and UI5 is gaining more and more popularity because it gives you a lot of amazing features. Not just you can bound to a control, but you can customize your world. If I ask you, I will give you two cell phones. Cell phone number one, it has all the great features. Okay. Cell phone number two, equally great features. But cell phone number one, you can't change your ringtone. But however, in cell phone number two, you can change and decide which ringtone you want to set it for, which option you will buy, which mobile phone you will buy. First mobile phone, where I give you a mobile phone with features equivalent to second one, where first one no option to change the ringtone, and second one you have options to choose variety of ringtones for your cell phone device. Which option you will buy? Of course, option number two, because you want to customize. And that's why SAP UI5 helps you to customize. And that's why this is the custom control concept. You can design your own control based on your own convenience, based on your own need, based on something which UI5 doesn't offer. You can use, you can design, you can make use of it and design your personal controls. And now in this case, my control is a personal control. You can design it. Okay, let's go ahead now design my control. I've designed it. It's going to print an h1 tag inside the body of HTML. Just start consuming this. How do you consume? Come to the main view. Inside of main view, you can see your namespaces here. Similarly, we add now the namespace for my custom control XML namespace, and just namespace this Anubhav, and I'm going to tell the system to load the JavaScript dependency, which is Fiori dot custom control. That's a library, and I have my control inside of this, and then that's Anubhav, and you can see the name of the control is my control. So that's the control. I come here inside, just going to design this Anubhav over here, and that's it. Done. Let's come and run this. If I do everything correct, no, nothing is correct. I think the namespace colon, I have to use my control. I think you can just use the path, the path of the directory, and inside this there's a my control which you have to use like this. I hope this should work fine. Press enter and you see welcome to custom world. Wow. Wow. Let's do a right click, inspect the DOM. What do you see in the DOM? An h1 tag created based on your need. Superb. That's called custom control concept in UI5. Is that clear to everyone? A very simple first example for customizing your world. Now, do you think it's truly customized? If I create one more control here inside my DOM, inside my view, again with Anubhav, my control, and I just add it, save it, and I come back, refresh. Do you think it's truly customized based on your complete need? Would you always want to display this text inside h1 tag? Would you always and always need this text inside h1 tag? Of course not. You again want to further customize. After buying your mobile phone, you want to put down the apps in the mobile phone based on your need. And if I say I'll give you a mobile phone which has only these certain apps pre-installed, you can't add more apps, you will throw away. You will say I don't buy. I want to customize my apps as well. I want to install WhatsApp. I want to install WeChat. I want to install YouTube. I want to watch out online Fiori trainings. I want to do customize. And I want to also change the ringtone. And within the app, I also have further customization possible. I want to change the theme, the way the app looks. I want to change the icon, the way the icon looks. Isn't it? Isn't that a customized world? And that's what SAP offers you. What we do, we go ahead and add a property to our custom control. Let's come back here. That's a metadata. Inside of this, I'm going to add properties. Okay, not inside double quotes actually, properties. And now I'm going to add a property, let's say text property, whatever you like. You can say this property name is Mario. It's your choice. It's a custom world. And I'm just going to set Mario equals to blank. Watch out carefully. Now, instead of using hard coded text, what I'm going to tell the system that this particular value of heading tag should be coming from Mario. So what I'll do is I come here, double quote, and just do a plus plus, and I'm going to construct my h1 tag at runtime. Okay. Now, anybody, if I want to access this Mario property here, what do I do? Anybody, in UI5, I taught you one golden rule. Whenever you have a property, what is that gets created automatically? Whenever you have a property, perfect answer, Udit, you have a setter and getter method gets created. But to call a method, what do you need? To call a method of a class, what do you need? Anybody, to call method of a class, what do you need? You need an object. This is the object you need. So you can see this object you need to be able to call. This is your object which gives you an access to the current control properties and current methods, isn't it? Isn't that object is so powerful? Yes, that's what I told you. OControl is the object which you need to use. So let's use this OControl object, and I say get Mario. And now watch out. I go to my view. What? Guess what? What will I do here? Anybody? Guess what? Can anybody tell me? What shall I do here? Who will tell me what shall I do here? If I want the text to be according to me, I want to customize. I want to customize my world with the text I want in the heading tag. What shall I do? Which property of this control I use to send this control a signal telling that I want my own text? Absolutely, Mario is the property which this control offers, and I'll say Anubhav is here. And the next one, I want my website address to be displayed. Mario is the property, and I'll say http online fiori trainings.com. Save this. Let's come back, refresh the world, and voila, your world is completely customized. Amazing, isn't it, guys? How do you customize your world? That's what how you do it. Interesting. Can you do this in WebDintro? Absolutely not. You can't customize, control what you need. Suppose I want to also change the color of my control. How can I achieve that? Anybody, any guess what to do now to change the color of my every control, every heading tag? What do you do in HTML to change the color of a control? Anybody, what do you use in HTML to change the color of a control? What do you do? I taught you all of this in initially when we started this UI5 Fiori training. I taught you everything. I taught you the fundamentals of HTML and other stuff. What is that you use to style your content inside an HTML? Anybody, what do you use? Style. Which concept do you use to style the HTML content which you put in a static web page? What do you use? I still did not get my answer. You're all saying different things. Absolutely right answer, Swami. We use CSS, and to be very precise in this case, we can use inline CSS. Perfect answer, Udit and Samir and Swami. Yes, we use a CSS. So I put a style property equals to single quote color property colon, and I'm going to pass the color at runtime. So once again, double quote, concatenate with the color property. So let's add a property, and I say Super Mario. Okay. So why am I using this character name? So that you can understand this is something customizable. This is something you can do it with your own name, with your something which you like, you can choose from. It's a custom world. And then you can say this dot get Super Mario, and I just save this. And now watch out, guys. I go back and I'm gonna pass here what? Anybody, what do you think? What shall we pass? If I want my first heading text to be displayed in the red color, what do I pass? Who will tell me in my custom control, my control which I created here? What shall I pass? Yes, absolutely, pass Super Mario. What is the color you want? You can pass that. I want it in the red color. And next one is Super Mario. I want to pass it in the blue color. Save this. We are done. Let's come back to the custom world. Press enter. Oops, something went wrong. Press F12. F12 is your best friend. Get Super Mario is not a function. Let me come here. I think M should be small. Yes, that's what it is. Enter. No, yet again, get Super Mario. Oops, I done a mistake. I'm so sorry. It should not be this because this is nowhere in context here. We are not in the controller. We are in the custom control. The object of custom control is referred with O control, not via this. Save this. Once again, come back and refresh and voila. Oops, still the color did not change. There's something wrong. So inline style equals to color equals to the value of the color should come here. Get Super Mario value. M should be small. Let's try that up. I guess yes, it makes it everything a small letter. No, it's not working. M has to be capital. It should follow this, but only first character becomes capital with the followed by get. Okay. Now there's some problem. So there's a color equals to this. Maybe we are missing something for sure. Because of that, it's not working. Let me just go to the view and I put here Super Mario. Yeah, here you see guys, Super Mario property M is capital here. I'm not passing M capital. I have to pass M capital here. Super Mario inside my view. Let's come back. So you see how does it impact? And voila, finally you can see customized world. You can add any app to your mobile device. You want to change the color of your mobile. You can change the theme of your mobile. You can go ahead inside of your mobile, change the ringtone, all these things which mobile phone offers you. SAP UI5 also offers you. It offers you an amazing capability to customize your world. That's why people use SAP UI5. UI5 doesn't become a bottleneck for developer guys. This is the statement. Remember this is statement, a great Ramban to tell it in an interview. Whenever interviewer says why to choose UI5, many times a student come and ask me, Anubhav, we have WebDintro, we have BSP. I'm happy with it. I'm a WebDintro developer since last 10 years. I'm very happy with it. What to do, Anubhav? Why they are pushing UI5 so hard? They are asking me to learn UI5. I don't want to go ahead. No, you have to learn it. There is no way out because UI5 doesn't become bottleneck for developer. You may not understand. Your company understand it better. Your company's strategy understand it better. They want to go to a place where they want to become completely flexible enough to be able to scale up. Okay, so every company moving to UI5 and Fiori guys, this increase the demand for learning in UI5, and that's where I help you, all of you, to learn UI5 and Fiori. Please join my program on SAP UI5 and Fiori training on onlinefioritrainings.com. This is the website. Here you can go and in 40 hours I will teach you right from scratch what you need to do, what you need to know, what if you are a fresher, what to do, what is the right direction. Even your experienced, not experienced, fresher working in ABAP technology or any other SAP domain, are hearing so many jargons around you. People are talking all the time UI5, 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 HTML5, CSS, views, controllers, MVCs, Fiori. You don't understand that. Come into my course. In these 40 hours, I will make you an expert in UI5 and Fiori, and the next level to it, which is extensibility with UI5 and Fiori, and the next level to it, ABAP on HANA with S4 HANA Technical. Recently, I had also posted a video on my YouTube channel regarding CDS BOPF integration. So watch out that it's already available. CDS BOPF integration. This is the video which I posted the day before, and you see in just one day. In just one day, I've got 102 views into this video. They're continuously following. A lot of people, okay, have also commented. Last night I posted this video. Maybe we can see March 30th, 2018, and what is today's date? It's 31st. In just one day, 102 views, because there's something really good, something different I'm offering to all of you. So please join in my these different courses. Very, very important for your survival. Your future is dependent on your career, your future, your problems all are dependent on this. Your learning is important. Okay, so this is the first step towards this new technology which you have already taken. Those who are attending this current batch, you've already taken the first step towards the next level of your career. Okay, moving next. So this is about creating a custom control. Now the problem with this approach, as I mentioned, I'm not here to teach only the thing. I'm here to teach you the concepts which you can apply, the concepts which you can reuse, and in a way that it's standard, close to standard. So what we need to do here, you can see the problem with this approach. If you have lots of styling properties, let's say tomorrow a border property also comes up, this code becomes bulkier and bulkier to manage, isn't it? This code becomes big and more big, and that becomes completely unmanageable for you. That's why the renderer object also offers you some ready to use methods, okay, which you can also use to add styles. So what I'll do is I'll add a border property also. So again, something which you can choose on your own, and I'm gonna use now these three properties to build my HTML, equivalent HTML accordingly. So what I'll do is I'll just come here and I'll first start orm.write. I'll start off an h1 tag. Okay, this is what I start with. The next step, what I'll say is add style. Okay, I say add style. Now inside of this I will put my style name, so say color, and color property should be coming from oControl dot get Super Mario. That's my color property. The next one, orm dot add style, border property, comma oControl dot get border, and then we say orm dot write styles. Now what happens here, when you say add style and add style, system will keep appending these style code, keep generating, keep preparing a big style text automatically. So what happens inside the scene, when you start this, system will first add a color property and its color column this text. Then system will add border column this text. Something system keeps adding it, and this is added inside a buffer. And from this buffer finally to the browser you have to push it. For that you have to use write style. System will push this buffer, flush it off, and puts it inside your final DOM, these properties. And once they are put it in the final DOM, you just enclose orm.write and you say end of my h1 tag, and then I want to concatenate with oControl my final text which is there in my Mario property, and then just join it with final ending of h1 tag. This is how I prepare it. We are nice, done, and we are cool. So that's how you can modularize your renderer code. The more and more property keeps on adding, you can enhance it more and more like this. Clear everyone, how we are modularizing rather than writing everything in a single line? That's the best practice. I save it, we can come back. Oh, I forgot to pass the border property. You can of course ignore it, you can pass it also. Maybe press enter, you see it's working as it is. And maybe I want to now set a default border for all the values. Okay, all the controls which gets created, I want to set default black color border. Who will tell me what to do? Anybody? What to do? What do you think? If I want to set a default value to some property, what can I do? Anybody? Which method I can probably use to set a default value for my variables? Anyone who will tell me which method I can use to set default values for my class variable, in this case, which is the constructor of a class which gets called when the class object is getting created? Anybody? What do we use? Which method do you think in out of this we can use to initialize my class variable? Of course, the init method here. So in init method you can say this dot set, and I can say border, and I can set 1 pixel solid black border, and I can save this. We are done. Now you see by default the control when it is created, they all have 1 pixel solid black color border. If I want to customize it, I can go back and override this value. For let's say this one, I want the border to be 2 pixel dashed red color border. I want for this second control. First one goes by default, second one automatically got changed to 2 pixel solid red color border. Clear everyone? Is that clear to everyone? How to work with a custom control, design your own control. It's nothing but writing an equivalent HTML code inside of renderer function to be able to produce the equivalent HTML output. That's your custom control. In the next day, in the next session, next class, I will show you creating a extending a standard control. Let's say button. If there's a button control, I don't have a ready to use functionality for the button. I want to extend it with my own need. I can do that, and that's what I'll show in next class. We will also see Google Map integration with SAP Fiori. How can you create a Google Map control? However, SAP already offers a map control, but what if I want to reuse Google Maps API to JavaScript API which Google offers to be able to display a map inside a Fiori application? How can I use that? It's part of my next course. Any questions before we close today's class? Anybody, any questions before we close today's class? No questions?
Not related to this session, but probably related to the formatter concept. I know the code, but I'm not able to understand how the code for formatter works. So
Okay.
if you could.
Okay, let's go ahead and try understanding it once quickly. So what happens behind the scenes? Let me go to the PPT of the previous session. What is a formatter? So let's quickly go back to the formatter. So what's going on inside of a formatter? So I just quickly switch to the PPT. Yes, here it is. So this is where we introduce the formatter function, the formatter capability. Suppose I have a database table where I have employee name stored. Okay, and I am just reading the data from some service which I will explain you later, and it's reading some data from database table and displaying it on the UI. Perfectly nice. Now the end user, the business user, they say the employee names or the customer names which you're displaying on the UI, it has to be all in capital letter. Okay, it has to be all in capital letter. So will you go and change data in your base database table, make all the names to capital letter? No, of course not. So you want an intermediate function which can do this conversion from lowercase to uppercase for you. Rather than changing the base data, I want to apply some kind of formatting. I want to change the data type, or I want to change the formatting for an existing available data inside of system before the binding takes place with the UI. That's where the formatter comes into picture. In this picture, you see we have a view, we have a model, and now what I'm doing is this data was supplied earlier to the view directly, but now I hook in an intermediate function. So now data passes through this formatter. It doesn't directly goes to the UI, it passes through the formatter. The data goes inside a formatter, and whatever formatter returns, it goes out and gets displayed onto the UI. Same thing we have done in our previous class where I have created the same thing. So if I just quickly run this particular project which we had created, you can see here this status, it's displaying different colors. How it is possible to display different colors based on the text? How it is possible? Because we have to do manipulation of status at runtime based on this text, and that's where we used a formatter. So if I just quickly show you the code, I go back and maybe just go to the view which we created, maybe close everything, just open the view, come down, and you can see here we have used object status control, and we have used state property, and in this state property I am at runtime going to evaluate the state value. So I'm calling a formatter because there's no way at runtime I can evaluate some value before the binding takes place. So this state property, what I'll do is I call the formatter, get status, and this formatter is written in a reusable file. So why we write in reusable file? Because we can then, you know, use it again and again multiple places. So this is what a modularization which we have learned in the previous classes using scaffolding. So I go inside my utils formatter.js, and you see get status function over here, where input goes in, the text is the input. Based on this text, I am returning the right status, and this whatever I written is finally goes in into the binding of state property. That's what the formatter is. Udit, is that clear? Everything now?
So the in the path we provide the
Input
binded
data to
property,
formatter.
correct?
So this
To which
status
we
is the
want.
input to the formatter. So status goes input here. See, this is the input, and what formatter returns, that goes into the final output. So state has the final output, which is the which is success, error, or warning. That's a state we want to set. Okay, that's a final output which a state property expects you to pass. So input is based on status. I am determining the state. So input is status. If it is available, return success. So success is what is finally feeded to this state property. Clear?
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
it's clear, I think, but it's just that when I tried to use it in my code, the color for the status did not change. So
Maybe
maybe
we
some
can have a
mistake
quick
in there,
look at
but
your code towards the end. Maybe
yeah,
anybody else have some question? I guess somebody have spoken in the middle.
yeah, I have the same question. How does the color changes? The text is fine. How does the color changes?
Not working for you too? Okay, maybe I will now stop the recording, because this video is going to be published on YouTube, and we will look into the solution, your screen, and then we'll see why it's not working for you. What is the problem? So thank you so much for YouTube viewers watching this video. Please stay tuned on my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share. If you like my content which I'm offering you, please share it with your friends. If you think it's helpful for you, please like it. Please do comments on this YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. So maybe I've started the recording again for the at least the people who are watching the blog. Maybe it will be helpful. So this video will at least be available into the blog. So okay, let's have a look. What mistake have you done? So show me your binding for
let me
status.
run the application.
Okay.
And binded it after.
नीचे आओ, status पे जाओ. Yes, you see the state property you hard coded to success. इसको change करना पड़ेगा.
Yeah, this I did afterwards. हाँ,
Okay.
ये तो मैंने बाद में किया था. I
Right
did
now,
it afterwards. So
wait.
let me just,
Just go to the place where you have the state property.
so this
Ha,
one I have another view. Second.
very good. So you have availability dot formatter dot get status. This looks fine. This
So
looks
I can,
absolutely fine.
हाँ, so let me just copy this one. I can use it there as well because
अच्छा अच्छा.
इसमें this one is having different values availability में which are not part of the JSON. So
Let's see.
I
No
will have to
problem.
copy it.
We'll see one by one, step by step. We'll see.
Okay, I think.
So path is availability formatter dot formatter get status. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. This
I
looks
will open the
completely okay for
formatter
me.
as well.
Show me your JSON data for availability property inside fruits slash fruits entity set. Fruits.json, show me. Do we have an availability property over there in the fruits collection below? In the fruits collection, line number 26, do we have an availability property over there? Line number 26 directly you can jump to. Yes, we have availability. Availability. Correct. This seems to be okay. Just go back to the code. Now, what is the common mistake usually people do? Let me just share it. So line number 28, you put dot formatter dot get status. You're trying to call a formatter. You're basically trying to call it actually. And sometime what may so happen, you might have missed. You might have missed declaring this formatter object. So you see line number. Okay. No, no, no. Don't change anything actually. Keep everything. Acha, it was already there. No, no, no. ठीक है,
It
ठीक है.
was
It was text properties already there on the top, so you can remove that extra text property from below. You were doing correct.
how to go back.
Remove this text wala below. Okay, now save this. Now do one thing. Go to the test view controller. Show me the text view controller which you created. In the controller, I want to see, have you declared the formatter object dot formatter? You see, you've not done that. Come down.
I declared it in the other one, not in this view.
Of course, how will it work then? You have to declare it here also, right? How
So
does
here
system know
it's
what
here.
is formatter? Yes, this one. This one you didn't declare in this view, test view controller. We didn't do that. You didn't even add the dependency, what formatter means. How will system call it? Right? That's the common mistake which most of us does. We don't put the dependency. So here is the namespace. What is the path where formatter.js exists? It's inside utils formatter. I can see udit/utils/formatter. And then you have to also declare this object as a second last object in line number 9, where the object will be received as my formatter. My formatter, not formatter. My formatter. Because you see below line number 19, you are assigning my formatter to formatter global variable. And this formatter global variable dot formatter is used inside your view. Now you run it. Let's see what happens.
Just let me look at the view. If it's okay.
You have used actually inside object list item. Show me your view once again. Which view it is? It's not table. You see object status. Object list item. This list, it's used in the list. How come? I can see you have used it inside a list actually. Can you see it's used in the list? Line number 21, test view. Which is the test view? Where it is displayed? This test view. It's, I think, on the master. Your test view is your master view, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Right? Test view is
It
the master view.
here. Yeah, actually I was trying first here and then I
So
started.
here it should come now. Okay, wait. Here it should come on the
So I
left
can
only.
go to the view 2. So in view 2, this is the view.
Forget about view 2. It should first come in the master view now.
So available, I need to bind it.
Available you need to bind means?
Object list item in the ID list suits.
Object list item, this seems to be okay. So you have an object list item inside which you are putting first status, and it should display now this object status. Come down. What else is there in your object list item? I think this is your left side area, Udit.
Yeah, left side area
So
master.
in the first status, it should now display me the object status also along with the other properties. The name, price, currency. Go back to the UI.
Just
Are
check
you
it
running Z
suits.
model project only?
Yes.
Or you're running
Yes,
some
yes.
other project?
No, Z model only. So currently it's just showing me
Where is the
these two.
price?
The other property, it's not binded.
Huh?
Currency benefit icon.
I don't see delete button also, Udit. I think you are running something incorrect. Go to your split app. Show me your split app. I think you have not used this test view at all. Your view itself is incorrect. You have not instantiated test view. Just come down. udit.view.test.view, it should instantiate. Yeah, that's correct only. So go to testview.xml. Can you close everything? Right click on the tab. Yeah, close all the views. If you work with multiple projects, this is the worst thing which happens to someone. We are looking at something else, we are changing something else. Sometimes it may so happen. Okay, now I think this is your view. Object list item, navigation, currency, availability. This looks okay for me. Why it's not loading this? I see many of your content which you had put it here in this view, it's not loaded. Just close this window where you're executing it.
Yeah, I think I would have commented it somewhere or the other because it was not working, and I wanted to use all the content in the detail pages
No,
later on. So
I see your view is not loading properly. This is not the view which, because you see you have also mode delete inside the list and a lot of other things which are not coming up. Somewhere you have commented and loaded maybe something else. That is why it's not working. Can you do one thing? Can you just, I think the problem is with your dependency declaration formatter. So just do it correctly and try once again. It will work. Okay, just give a try. So you understood, right? You have to put in the
Mhm.
corresponding controller formatter object. Fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it
Okay.
should work fine.
So
Okay.
in the second view, at least the same thing I've used
Okay.
in the second view.
Okay. Okay.
It may be that I need to check my date.
You have so many files actually. Are you using the
Shoots.
right model? Are you using the right view? These are all the questions. Actually, you have created so many things here.
If I show you my formatter, in the formatter I'm using status.
That doesn't matter. This is an input variable name.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And in
completely
the
fine.
JSON, it's
It
availability.
doesn't
So
matter.
that's why
It doesn't matter.
I used availability here.
This is what will go inside the inside that variable status which you created inside your.
And in the status, and if you see my second view, detail,
Hmm.
detail also has this one as hard coded. So that's why it's coming.
Detailed data, it's not working, right? Do one thing. Immediately export it and give me it in a drive. I will import it to my web ID and let's see. Because I'm unable to recognize where are you doing, what are you commenting, where all it is going. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I sent this project to you in Gmail as a link, as a web drive
When did you do that?
today.
Today you did it. Okay. Let me just check it. Just be online. Anybody else? You were also saying your status is not working. Somebody told me. Your status was not working. Somebody told me today, just about a minute ago. You were saying your status was not working. No, nobody.
Now, my question was that how that color property changes.
So
For the
Or
color,
is
actually,
that's what formatter
object
is doing.
status is actually a type of control in which
okay,
text you can mention anything, but the state controls the color. For success, it always returns green color. For error, it always returns red color, and for warning, it returns probably some orange color. So based
okay,
on the state property, the color changes.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, let me share my screen back. I am not able to understand in his screen what is he doing. I'll just share my screen back. So that's his project. I've downloaded and uploaded already to my web IDE. You can see the state as it is, as he is having in his system. And now I can go ahead and explore it really well because it's my system. And let's come back and see what he has done. So let's start first with the index.html. This is the file he's starting. He has a namespace Udit and he's creating a split app and then he's creating a test view and XML. So test view in XML he is creating an object and corresponding controllers do exist. I'm not sure why he has put a view here and this view here. I'll delete this. I don't think so they have any usage, just to clean up a little bit. And yeah, and then he is placing this app control inside the body of HTML, which he is creating inside a split app. So this is his code. Perfect. Let me just refresh. Yeah, looks okay. And now I come start with first master view. So master may he is putting test view. This is the view he is putting in master. There's so much of code which is unused. I'm going to remove that code completely. The biggest mistake which you did with it, I can immediately tell you, you created a view. What is that a view in Fiori should have? Anyone who will tell me, Raji? I expect this answer from you at least. What is that a view must have inside? What is that a view must have inside? What is that a Fiori view? You forgot my concepts, guys. The first thing which you should have is a page object inside of Fiori. That's the most thing. If a view must return a page object, where is your page object? Where is your page object? If you create a view also, right click, say new, an XML view, okay, and I say demo, and I say demo, and I say next, finish. What you see is a demo view. See this, it has page. Must have to have a page object. Must have to have with it. This is the first mistake. You don't have a page object inside of a view. That's must have thing. Okay, that's a must have thing. Must have to have a page object. So you must have to have a page object inside every single view which you create in XML format. That's a must have thing which you didn't do. Now I added the page object. Let me cut and paste your code. So I'm just going to cut this up and put it inside content, and just save this. Let's see now. Come and enter, and you see search is coming. At least one thing is coming. This is a page object. Now I'm worrying about the other properties, your properties inside of a list. This is your list control. So inside this, everything you put it. That's nice. Let me just check. Item press, item segregation, mode is delete, on delete, object list item, title, price, currency, intro, icon, and then there is a first status over here. State property, you put hard coded success. This seems to be the list. Let me remove this list and see the side effect of it. Does it disappear the list? Yes, it is. So which means your list is this one only, which is you are displaying. That's correct. Now I see there's an item press here, which you have used an event, which is okay. Item segregation binding with slash fruits. Now I want to see this slash fruit coming from which model. What is your default model? Let me go and check your default model. So if I come in on init, this is your default model. Create fruit model you are creating from model. So I go to this dependency call model. Call model is what you're using. This is one here. Create fruit model. You're using model fruits.json. This is the file you're using for creating your model. Okay, so that's your fruits.json. Looks okay. So that is going to load the model and going to instantiate your model, set it as a default model. So I come here, items, mode is delete. You have put item press and mode together. So let me just remove this mode. Not required. Keep the item press only. Keep the type also not required. Okay, type is required because you have an item press event. That's okay. You need a type. So I come back, refresh. How come it's not displaying the properties actually for the list? How come? Why? You see width, you have put it. Let me remove the width property. Press enter. Yes, you see your width property was causing a side effect. It was making some controls disappear. This width property which you had put was causing some side effect. I remove the width property and you see now your your statuses are coming up and everything is coming in the green color. Okay, 0.1. Now let me just hope you understood, Udit. The first thing, your width property was
This is
causing a side effect.
R42.
Okay, next, that's why I always say compare it
Yeah,
with
yeah. I was
my
not worried
code.
about whether I can
Check the
cross.
property which I have and which you have extra. That's what I say. Download the code now. Why don't you download my code?
Actually, this is the same application. Actually, the same application was first the worklist application, and then I converted the same to a split app.
Doesn't matter.
So
Ultimately, we should
it
compare.
was working fine as a work list.
Okay, the width was causing a side effect. I removed it. You see it's working. Next, this available. Now I'll change it to formatter. So you see this state property which should be dynamically controlled. I come inside this. I put path. Path has availability. Same property. Formatter dot get status. I don't do anything else. Just come and press enter. Everything comes in black. Am I not sure whether I declare the dependency now on test view controller? And yes, of course, there is no dependency on your formatter. So let me add it. Sorry, utils. My formatter added in a formatter. That's utils. Just check the name of the file is correct, formatter, and it is a function called get status. So that should be used here in the get status. I save it. That's my formatter. This formatter is also declared here in here, and that's coming from here, the dependency. This all looks okay now. Why it's not working? State property of object status as a first status. Let me just set up a breakpoint in my formatter and see if at least this is triggering. Come back, press F12, press enter over here. It should hit the formatter if it is triggering properly. You see, it didn't hit my formatter function, which means my formatter function itself is not triggered. It didn't even trigger it. It didn't even trigger get status actually. Formatter itself was not triggered. State, path, availability, formatter. It is not triggering the formatter itself. There is some problem. We had put this, we had set this object also correctly. Did you use complex binding here? Where is your complex binding code, Udit? Where is your bootstrapping saying complex binding is allowed? Where is it? Udit, are you there? No, even to
That
use formatter, you
one,
have to use complex binding code, like I taught you in one of the class. Very bad with it. Silly mistakes. Let's bring in that code. Data SAP UI binding syntax complex. Just put it over here. Save it. Let's come back. Refresh the page. And voila. Voila. Wow. Superb. That's what happens when you follow concept. If you follow example, believe me, you're going wrong. If you follow concept, output is just around the corner. Output is just around the corner. Output is just around the corner. Forget about output. Forget about output. Focus on concepts. That's why I repeat in every class. Any questions before we close today's class? Anybody? Hope it's clear now what was the mistakes done by Udit. You learn from each other's mistake. That's how I learn from your mistake. You learn from my mistake, and we learn together as a whole. Absolutely no doubt about it. Completely fine. You've done mistakes. I'm very happy that you've done these mistakes, so that it give all of us an opportunity to watch what have you done wrong. Clear? Good.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Great. Then with
And
that,
another question I had in
yes,
mind
yes.
was related to expression binding syntax.
Mhm.
I mean, why do we use the dollar symbol before evaluating the condition?
Okay, dollar symbol is actually to reuse some value. Okay, so maybe I'll just quickly show you once again in our code. So if we come here to the view where we have used some expression binding inside of fragments, we have used it actually. So we have used an expression binding over here. This dollar symbol is actually representing a variable. This VIS is a variable actually for us, which is used for comparison, right? So if you don't put dollar, it won't treat this as a value from binding. This whole thing will be treated as a literal. Since we want to tell system, don't look at the property, look at this property value. That's why we use dollar symbol. Okay, so VIS is a property inside Anubhav model. I want to compare the value of that VIS property. Okay, I don't want to compare VIS, I want to compare value of VIS property. That's why in expression binding is a syntax actually. एक और एक दो क्यों होते हैं? That's what exactly it is. It's a syntax. Whenever you want to use a property from a binding, you have to use curly braces and its value, and then use dollar symbol to indicate that this value of this, I want to compare it with this variable. That's the purpose.
Mhm.
Okay. It's a
Okay.
syntax.
Okay.
Great. So with that, hope it's clear to all of you the mistakes what Udit have done, and I'm sure many of you would have also done that same mistake. Because of that, it might not have worked. So make sure that always use this. And this is also answer one of the email which you sent me day before yesterday, where you were using path syntax with the items binding, and it was not working. But you were when you were putting directly curly braces slash items, it was working. So this is a very important ingredient to make all types of binding
Mhm.
work with formatter, expression, and other types of binding. So don't forget to put this line inside index HTML. Okay, great. So with that, it's a wrap,
Yeah.
and see you on Tuesday morning India time, guys. I will update you. If I cancel the appointment, we don't have a class on Monday. If I keep the appointment, we have a class on Monday. So stay tuned to the Google invite for the class. With that, thank you. See you